Durant pull-up jumper off the rim and in. Oh! And the Thunder win! All right, come on, let's sing the Thunder song.
Wait.
When you hear the sound of thunder, don't you get too scared. Just grab your Thunder buddy and say these magic words.
Hello and welcome back to another edition of the Thunder Buddies podcast. Week 3 or 4, or we're somewhere in the early season. Darnell Mayberry again is back from another East Coast road trip. This one, Milwaukee and Boston. To me, it was looking like it was heading towards the disaster type road trip. You're on the road against two non-playoff Eastern Conference teams. Obviously, everyone knows about the Thunder's injury situation, but you score 78 points and lose in Milwaukee, kind of in bad fashion. Go down 18-3 in Boston, down I think 9 at half. It was looking like it was going to be a really bad road trip. Then suddenly you just had that 24 minutes, second half huge turnaround, win by 15 convincingly in Boston. Is it now like that? Was that a successful trip? Would you categorize that going 1-1?
Yeah, any 500 ball right now is successful. I mean, that's kind of what you're trying to be until KD and Russ get back. So 1-1 road trip, you take that in a heartbeat.
Anthony Morrow's already won this team a game, in my opinion. You know what I mean? That's your offseason signing. You talk about where does it show up in wins and losses? Well, he's won this team a game.
I'm sitting here thinking about that's a little much.
Is it? Because look, you don't. I know Reggie Jackson was obviously the best player on the court last night.
Yeah.
But if you don't
without him in the third quarter, the Thunder doesn't win this game.
Without Morrow,
without Jackson's 14 points, it was 4 assists in the third. They don't win that game either. So
look, I'm not.
I see what you're saying, but I'm just not ready to say that he won them the game.
I am. Well, Jackson also kind of. If Jackson's not in the game last night, obviously they lose too.
Right. And Lance Thomas doesn't get those offensive rebounds. Maybe they lose.
I'm just saying, 19 fourth quarter points from Anthony Morrow.
It was impressive.
22 in the second half. 28 in what? How many? He played about 28 minutes. I think he played
31 minutes, I believe.
Yeah,
31 minutes
on 16 shots. I'm just saying. He
did his job.
The X factor.
He did his
more
job.
than an X factor.
He did his job, and you could see why they wanted him on this team. And everyone who's saying the Thunder didn't do anything, they had a bad off season. Go look at Anthony Morrow. I mean, he's an underrated acquisition. People never talked about him, and now you could see what he means to this offense. And you can project out and see when Kevin and Russ come back how much of a weapon he's going to be.
To me, it's the perfect type fit for this team where you bring him in. He's not a guy that you can rely on every night. His shot's not going to be like it was every night. But having him as the 7th, 8th man off a bench where you can toss him in, early second quarter, he may miss 3 straight shots, and then you're like, you know what? We need defense tonight. We need Robertson out there. Perry Jones is a good match. Maybe he doesn't play that many minutes, but a game like last night, he comes in, pops a few of those jumpers.
Yep.
You can ride him for stretches.
It's funny because I told him after the game, I'm like, dude, you're setting expectations sky high for yourself. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, the fans are going to expect this every night out of you now. Like, your first 2 games, his first game, he gets 10 points in 14 minutes, goes 4 of 7. I think he made a 3 that game at Milwaukee. He was on that minute restriction, but he came out, he played well. It was to the point where people wanted more of him. They wanted him to come back, especially in the final 2 to 3 minutes when the Thunder made it a game and had a chance to win.
Especially when they kind of needed threes down the stretch.
Yeah, they needed him down the stretch. So people were asking for more Morrow, and then what he does in Boston, obviously. I'm like, man, you're setting the bar high. He's like, I'm used to it. He's like, everywhere I go. He's like, that's everywhere. Everywhere I go, they think I'm going to shoot that way every night. I'm like, well, you just did it for yourself in Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
But obviously he's not going to shoot like that.
No,
every
he averaged
night.
he averaged 8 points last year. He'll probably average somewhere, I'm guessing, around 10 this year, maybe a little bit more because I think he's just going to get more looks, obviously more open looks, especially when the stars come back. But he's a guy, he's a difference maker in the fact that he can just, like he did last night, he can win games for a team. This is not, or what he did last night was not rare. You want to know some of the stat lines he's put up in his career?
Let's hear him.
When he was on the Nets against the Timberwolves, in 2012 he had 42 points on 13 of 20 shooting, including 8 of 11 from 3.
Wow.
He had a 37-point game when he was 15 of 20 from the floor, and that was his first start ever back in 2008.
Give me the threes.
4 or 5 from 3 that game.
Wow.
So that's that was like rookie year, first start ever, undrafted rookie. He's had this is maybe my favorite one, 29 points on 10 of 11 shooting. In that was kind of similar. Last night he was 28 on 11 of 16.
Give me the threes.
What in that 10 of 11
Yeah.
game? Only 3 of 4.
Only.
Well, I mean, right? Okay, how about this one? This is Warriors against the Hornets in 2010. 28 points on 11 of 13 shooting and 6 of 6 from 3. That's a good one.
Man.
This is what I'm trying to say is he's not going to do this every night like we had mentioned, but he will win you games just suddenly by just like I think I said it in the thing. He just kind of detonated on the Celtics. It was like, oh, it was a game, and then suddenly it was just points, blowout.
Yep.
And I think
8 for 8 in the fourth quarter.
19. He was 8-8 shooting.
Yep.
And like these aren't layups. None of them were layups.
None of them. Yeah, they're like
they're
jumpers
like 17 feet and out.
and pull-ups, and I'm like, this dude can shoot, man. Like people talk about shooters, he is a shooter,
Straight shooter. And you know there might be where this signing may come up just monstrous, where he may earn all the money and more than he's getting really because he got a 3-year, $10 million deal, is a game 4 when it's like they're Thunder up 2-1 in like against the Clippers and they go into LA and the Clippers are playing well and he just wins you a game by just like dropping 18 in the third quarter.
Maybe one of those, or even maybe one of those droughts where no one can make a shot and then they go to him and they all of a sudden he pumps life into the team. He starts making shots, maybe makes 1 or 2.
You saw the bench last night when he was
everyone gets excited and you know he kind of energizes everyone. I think he could have that kind of effect. People, I mean, you'd find it. Like, he was pumped up last night. That was a great vine. I'm sitting there watching it like 4 or 5 times while the game's going on.
Yeah, he was getting rowdy.
Yeah. But I like him, man. He's a great guy.
He's a good guy.
He's a great shooter, and I think he's going to be a great pickup. I just don't understand why people aren't talking more about it.
It was a steal of a contract, in my opinion.
Yeah, when you look at guys like Jody Meeks and Ben Gordon and Darrell Wright, not Darrell Wright, my man C.J. Miles up in Indiana, the deals that those guys got, even Vince Carter, I think his was kind of comparable to Anthony Morrow's, but a lot of guys were getting
I think if you're the
more
Thunder,
money.
Look, Vince Carter, I think, is still kind of a better player than Anthony Morrow, but I think for what the Thunder need and want, I think Morrow is a better fit. And the Thunder protected themselves, too. Like, let's say Morrow struggled in the first 2 years of this deal, which I don't think he's going to. They have the team option for year 3 when, you know, that's the 2016 summer when you'll want everything off the books. You know, they could cut their losses then. I'm not saying they're going to want to because I think this is a steal of a
And guess
contract.
what? He'll only be 30.
Yeah. No, it was.
I mean, and
Vince
all he
Carter's
does is shoot.
like
so
37, 38. Yeah.
He's got plenty of years left of doing
like,
that.
We talk about declining athletically. He's really, like, pretty unathletic as far as, like, running up and down the court and stuff. So you don't really
It was a moment when he was running back on defense. I think it was in Milwaukee. I was like, oh, boy, he's limping. No, that's just how he runs.
Yeah, he just runs kind of awkward. His shot's kind of awkward, really.
Yeah.
But, you know, he hits it. He's kind of – I wrote about it. You know, I mentioned it. I think I tweeted it and then I put it in the observations. He's kind of what the Thunder, like, were really hoping they were getting in the Harden trade with Jeremy Lamb. And Lamb just has not turned into that.
You know what? I was watching Jeremy Lamb last night struggle, missed his first 5 shots. And then I start watching Anthony Morrow, and I'm like, you know who would be a good person for Jeremy Lamb to imitate, try to learn from? Anthony Morrow.
It would be. I mean, that's the exact game. You're like, man, if Lamb could play that game, he'd be exactly what the Thunder.
You know that you're on the court to shoot it. So when the ball comes to you, you know that's your one job. Shoot the ball.
Well, he hasn't had a
Make
problem
a shot.
tossing shots up lately.
You should be confident when you're
there.
Yeah, I don't like his. I mean, he doesn't have bad form, but he just kind of lazily chucks it up there.
Slingshot.
Like, it's like a yeah.
It's like you know, like a woo, and then when he misses his head, like he always like puts his head down, especially when he's struggling. When he's the kind of guy that if he misses his first 4 or 5 shots,
he missed his first one last night, and I'm like, here we go.
Well, we're talking
no one on press row knew what I was talking about. I was like, oh boy, because he missed it. I'm like,
you mentioned
it's
one
going to
shot.
be a long night.
I'm saying, like, let's say he starts a game 0 for 3, 0 for 4. Just because we've kind of have more of a track record on him now, I think if he misses his first few shots, if I'm Brooks,
yank him.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not going to be his night. I don't know that he's had huge nights, but he usually gets off to huge starts when he has huge nights. If he gets off to a bad start, he's the kind of guy that I don't know that if you have the backups, I don't know that I'd.
The one thing I'm not seeing out of him more enough is when he misses those first 2, 3, 4 shots, I'm not seeing him mix it up enough.
Get to the rim.
There have been times when he's tried to use the pull-up game or tried to get to the rim and get the floater, and even that hasn't worked, but I'm just not seeing it nearly enough. And I think that would help him out if he just tried to get to the free throw line. I mean, he's a good, like, he gets to the free throw line quite often at times. Throughout his career, he just hadn't had enough playing time to do it consistently. But, like, figure out another way to score. You don't always have to just stay behind the arc.
I agree. Look, he had a good first 2 games, scored 17 points, and then the road trip was terrible. I think he was
10 points on 4 of 23.
4 of 23.
0 for 7 from 3.
Yeah. Bad on the road trip, obviously. When this team gets healthy, I'm not sure he's going to play much.
Did you hear what Scott Brooks said? I put it in my game story in the paper today.
Give me the quote.
I don't know the exact quote. I could look it up.
Paraphrasing.
He basically said, when Kevin and Russ and Mitch return, I'm not going to have a problem playing those guys, mixing those guys back in. And I'm like, wow, Mitch McGarry is in your mind, huh?
Who?
Like
Mitch McGarry?
Mitch McGarry?
That's what you should have said.
Who's Mitch? No, Mitch McGarry. I'm like, wow, Mitch McGarry is in the plan? Because I'm on the record. I don't think he's going to be in the rotation, but for Scott Brooks to put him in that mix, include him in that group, that was kind of an eye-opener.
And that's interesting, and we can talk about that.
It's very interesting because it's not just Jeremy Lamb who's going to be losing minutes. It's going to be Perry Jones. It could be Kendrick Perkins, Nick Collison,
Steven Adams if he struggles.
A lot of guys could be losing minutes if Mitch McGarry, because Mitch McGarry can play. And we're not going to be sitting here talking about, why is he struggling doing it? Like, we might be talking about his defense, but we're not going to be talking about his offense.
No, I mean, just the way he plays is not conducive to like offensive struggles because he's going to play the same every night, which is just reckless on the glass, just reckless all over the court.
Yeah.
Good passer,
Yep.
High IQ, finishes layups.
Yep. Can run the floor, can step out and hit the 17-footer a little bit. He's going to make an impact if he plays.
So I agree, and I think he will eventually find his way into the rotation. That is interesting. But what I wanted to talk about, because we were talking about Lamb's struggles, I'm not sure Jeremy Lamb plays much because I know we've talked about this before, but I think it's opening itself up even more now. We agree. Andre Robertson's going to be back within a couple weeks. He's going to start.
Yeah.
He's going to be the starting 2 guard. I think he fits well in the starting lineup when the stars are back.
Right.
Anthony Morrow has to play. Has to. Obviously, we saw last night what he can do. He's going to get minutes. He should get minutes. And they're mostly going to be at the 2 because Kevin Durant's going to play a lot. He's going to get almost all the minutes at the 3. Perry Jones will get a few because he's shown he can play well. So that's 2 guys getting guaranteed minutes at the 2, which is Robertson starting, Morrow off the bench. Reggie Jackson's probably going to close as the shooting guard on most nights because Russell Westbrook will close, and you think Jackson's probably going to close, right?
Yeah.
So those are 3 guys taking pretty much all of the 2-guard minutes. The small forward minutes are going to Durant and maybe a little Perry Jones. Where does Jeremy Lamb fit in? Does Jeremy Lamb fit in?
I'm not sure he does.
It's a little bit like last year with the Butler where Morrow was just Caron Butler.
Although I'm not sure Perry Jones has a very long leash.
No, but
I don't think his leash has grown all that much. I think he played extremely well.
Who do you trust more right now?
Games.
Who do you trust more right now in rotation, Perry Jones or Jeremy Lamb?
Well, let's not act like Perry Jones, set the league on fire.
No,
I mean, his
agree.
first game he had 3 points.
I don't think either of them are going to play that much.
Didn't even seem like he was on the court at Portland. So, I mean, you throw a stinker in there for Lamb, a stinker in there for Perry Jones. Maybe you could say, Lamb had 2. If you include Milwaukee.
I would include Milwaukee.
Yeah, he had 2. Perry Jones had 1. So,
I agree.
I don't think, and the thing is, Perry Jones is not going to be the same player when Kevin and Russ come back. that we saw him be without them. So, I just think it depends. Like for defensive purposes, Brooks is definitely going to go to Perry Jones. I don't think there's any question about that. His length, his athleticism, I think he changes the game. That's a little strong.
Yeah.
I think he can make more of an impact.
You been watching those Miami highlights from last year?
Yeah,
again?
I think he makes more of an impact.
James.
He makes more of an impact defensively, especially when they want to go small and put, Kevin at the 4.
Yeah.
Then I think that's the lineup that Scott Brooks will use. But offensively, I think there's still going to be times where Jeremy Lamb gets an opportunity over Perry Jones.
There will be, but at the same time, to me, it's like, well, if you're worried about offense at that position and you want shooting out there, and Anthony Morrow is a plus version of Lamb in that scenario. So I just think Morrow will just be getting the minutes in those situations. I mean, he played 31 last night. If he's hot, he's going to get huge
minutes. How about
minutes.
a lineup of Westbrook, Jackson, Lamb, Morrow, Durant?
It depends on who you're playing because that's Anthony Morrow at the 4.
Yeah, like a Phoenix.
Maybe.
There are teams out there that might go super small.
You know what I'd rather see in that situation? Jackson,
here we
Westbrook,
go.
Morrow at the 3, Durant at the 4, Serge Ibaka at the 5. Ibaka's a better shooter than Jeremy Lamb.
Yeah, right now he is.
You know what I mean? So that's more shooting, and you have a shot blocker at the rim.
He ain't going to be at the rim.
On defense?
No, he ain't going to be at the rim.
What, you think he's just going to
be chasing somebody at the three-point line? He did it last night in Boston. He was out guarding Jeff Green at the three-point line. Kelly Olynyk, he was out guarding Kelly Olynyk at the three-point line. Kelly Olynyk gave him a pump fake and went right by him, scored a layup. He's losing his shot-blocking skills, wasting time at the three-point line.
He volleyballed one last night.
He did. Yeah, I think they got a lot of options. I think all of this...
You're like way too down on Serge right now.
Yeah, I am. I think all of this goes to show that they've got a lot of options.
Yeah,
and
I do, and I just think because of his inconsistency, Lamb seems to me like if this team is healthy, fully healthy, which, it hasn't shown it can stay fully healthy, but if it is, he seems like the odd man out. Good guy to have as an odd man out as far as talent-wise in an NBA rotation. But that's just what it seems to be leaning towards.
That's sad. I was super high on him when they made the trade. 3 years in, he's still trying to figure it out.
He is
simple
only 22.
stuff, too. I can understand him not having the defensive principles and fundamentals and, maybe getting beat frequently.
Yeah.
But just not being able to make a shot, that's the part that is surprising me right now. Because he's getting some good looks. They're not great looks, all of them, but he's getting some good ones. He's not even making the good looks.
You know what? I was just looking at his shooting splits. This is surprising to me. This is his entire career. Maybe I should just look at the last 2 seasons, although that kind of, in a lot of ways, is his entire career.
Yeah.
He shoots 42.8% career at home and 40.6% career on the road. I would have guessed that was more like 45, 46 at home and 10 on the road. He seems like he just never makes shots on the road.
I think last year he was kind of even.
Which surprises me because I remember him really struggling. I'm going to look at just last year right now, but I remember him. It seemed to me all his really bad nights, the 1 and 10s, seemed to come in a Utah, in places like that. Yeah, I remember
Kevin
was better.
Martin was bad with that.
He was 44 at home and 42 on the road last year, so I guess, but it just seems to me like that disparity's worse this year. The smallest sample size you can have. This is what maybe it's because it's a recency bias, but he was 46% only in 2 games at home this year, and he was 17% in the 2 games on the road.
Good thing the Pistons are coming in town.
Yeah. Caron Butler.
Hey, Jeremy's got
small town throwdown.
Jeremy's got some incentive to show up tomorrow night.
Small town throwdown between the UConn boys.
He took my spot last year.
Yeah, well, he wishes Caron was back instead of Morrow, it looks like. But, okay, another rotational question I had written down right here. Kendrick Perkins or Steven Adams? Who would you start?
Oh, don't go there.
when everyone's back.
Steven Adams.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But
people are starting to ask.
Yeah, they are. That's why I don't think it's really valid. I honestly am really liking Perk off the bench in weird ways.
You know what? I talked to him a little bit about that before the game in Boston. I was going to make it a lead note. I don't think it's a full story just yet, but
What, 6th man of the year, Kendrick Perkins?
No. You won't be reading that from me.
No.
But it'll be in the notebook in Friday's editions of the Oklahoman. Perkins talked about a conversation he had with Nick Collison after the Sacramento game here at home. And Nick basically told him, when you're coming off the bench, you don't have time to ease your way into the game. You've got to go out there and play with all you've got from the start. You got to play 100% from the moment you step on the floor. And he's never really had to do that. Like, you go back to maybe his second year in the league, that's when he became a full-time starter. So for the last 10 years or so, he's been a starter, and he doesn't know how to adjust to being a bench player.
A starter surrounded by stars where it's really easing yourself into the game, where it's like Durant's going to get going and let Westbrook get going.
And before that, Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, Rondo. So
right now he's coming in on a depleted roster in a depleted second unit. Like post.
And the other thing is he's got guys that'll pass him the ball now.
Yeah.
Because they can't do it all like Russell and Kevin can offensively. So now he's getting more opportunities. Sometimes that's not necessarily a good thing, but sometimes he's going to get you some monster dunks like he's showing.
Monsters bold.
Those have been some monster dunks.
The one of them was.
I mean, he's not dunking on people, but going up strong, powerful two-handed dunks. That's all you can ask for. Finishing strong.
He's averaging 5.3 points and 5.3 rebounds in 19 minutes a game off the bench.
Oh, the other thing Perk said that'll be in this note is that his heart wasn't in it. He said he didn't have the right mindset in the past few games, and his heart was not in it. I wish I could have followed up with him. This was more in a group setting.
He's been playing, you mean before Milwaukee?
Yeah, because you remember he had the 17 points, 17. And then he was scoreless for the next 2 or 3 games. And I don't know why his heart wasn't in it. I wish I could have followed up with him or what was going on, but he just wasn't all there. And so now I think you can see that there's a difference in his attitude, his demeanor, and his activity level. So hopefully he keeps it up. I mean, it's turned into a pretty good weapon coming off the bench.
52% shooting right now is the best since he's been in Oklahoma City. 2009, 2010, he averaged 10 points a game and 7.6 rebounds, 27 minutes.
Why are people down on Steven Adams along these same lines? You put it in your observations today that he's been sort of disappointing. I don't feel like he's been either. Like if we're expecting him to average 20 and 10, yeah, you could say he's underwhelming. But I feel like for what he is, for where he is in his career, I feel like he's been solid.
To me,
he hasn't been great, but he's been. He's not knocking your socks off.
Yeah, well, what he did in the postseason, leading into what he did in the preseason, which was, remember, he was shooting like 78%. His hook shots were like splashing in. He was finishing really well around the rim. His offensive touch has kind of left him, which, especially with young guys, that'll come and go. You'll have struggles. So I don't think it's that big an issue. I think he's going to start the whole year. I think he should start the entire season. I actually think, this is as healthy as the Thunder center rotation has ever been, which I think is a good young starter who's going to develop, who's going to, I think, play better with the stars. We've talked about that. Mm-hmm. And then Perkins, who seems to be rejuvenated off the bench, who's playing like a different player. Regardless of if he's, contract year, he came back slimmer. You could talk about all you want, but this isn't the Kendrick Perkins from last year.
No, not even close.
We just
got an email today. Someone said, I think John Hamm, who is a friend of the program, said that he's doubled his PER. I haven't looked, but he's doubled it from last year, which, let's be honest, it's not hard. That's not hard to do.
No, and I mean, every stat in this first month plus is like kind of grain of salt type
sample size.
Well, it's not only sample size, but everybody's stats will be
have
inflated
to do more.
because
everyone has to do more because Russ and Kevin and those
there's
guys
just
are out.
opportunities.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're playing more minutes.
Literally half the team's shots, points, assists, everything, maybe more than half, are about to be taken away.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because remember you said on one of these podcasts that you would play Perk 8-9 minutes a game. I think was your number.
Mm-hmm.
Where's he now? Like 24? 19?
Yeah.
I thought it would be in the 20s, low 20s. That might get slashed a ton.
Well, you talked about Mitch McGary coming back. There's going to be more smaller lineups when Durant's there.
Mm-hmm.
There's just so many more bodies out there.
By the way, Durant's getting reevaluated 2 weeks from today.
He looks like
it's a month. He had surgery a month ago today. We're recording this on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever this is, November 13th. What is today? November 13th.
You don't think he might get reevaluated earlier? I mean, the boot's off.
They said 6 weeks. Today's the 4-week mark. 2 weeks from today, reevaluation.
Yeah.
Something to watch.
2 weeks from today is the front end of Westbrook's 4 to 6 week recovery, too. Another thing to watch.
Exactly 2 weeks for Westbrook today will be 4 weeks.
Well, 4 weeks
from surgery, because that's where you got to project out from surgery.
Okay, the surgery was Saturday, so remember
2 weeks from Saturday. Then
2 weeks from Saturday would be the front end of his 4 to 6 week timetable.
And
he's out there slamming lefty.
And one of us thinks he's coming back early.
I think
it ain't me.
I think he's going to come back right around that front end.
You're waffling.
Give or take a
You're
couple
waffling.
days. No, give or take a couple days means it could be. Look, the 4 week is November 29th. I'm saying maybe November 27th-ish. Wouldn't surprise me too much.
Okay.
He's out there.
The other day you saw him in practice. You were like, "Oh, there's no way he's not going to be 3 more weeks." And now you're saying 2 days early.
I'm still going out on a pretty big limb here.
All right.
He's out there throwing down lefty dunk. I understand he's still got the cat.
It's a broken right hand. What's that got to do with his left hand?
I'm just saying, once his hand is even close to 100%, maybe he can have a contraption on it or something. He's fully ready everywhere else. He looks like he's in just as good a shape, obviously. I don't know. I just think there's a chance he comes back. If they keep winning, maybe, they push it a little bit.
Keep winning. They've won 3 games.
I just mean like
that's their first road win. They haven't even had a winning streak yet.
Keep winning. That's a little bold. But, like every win feels so huge in this early season where it like pushes back the pressure.
Right. Hey, I cannot wait to see this Pistons line because we said I was coming back from L.A. after the Clippers game, and I said on the podcast they might be underdogs the rest of this month, all of November.
I think they're going to be favored over the Pistons.
They might be. They might be, but it might be close. It might be like 1 point or 1.5 or something like that.
If you're an odds maker.
But you didn't think they would be.
I said they were going to be favored in at least one game. You said they wouldn't be.
No, I asked you a question. I floated it out there.
The line is out.
What is it? Thunder. You're smiling, so Thunder must be favored.
Thunder favored by 1.5 points.
I just said 1.5. I don't know anything about lines. I said 1.5. You know why? Because someone told me that you get that just for being at home.
Yeah.
So that's why. If this was in Detroit,
yeah, I agree.
The Pistons
but
would be
guess what?
favored.
We knew it wouldn't.
Look
at a schedule. Some are at home, some are on the road.
So that basically says the odds makers feel like the Thunder's going to lose.
No, that says that the odds makers don't. It's like a pick 'em. They don't know who's going to win.
Yeah. They're at home and they basically get the.
Well, that is what goes into making odds. Who's home and on the road?
You know more about this stuff than I do. The point is, the Thunder they don't have. They're still not confident in the Thunder.
Well, obviously, I wasn't saying the Thunder are going to be like 10-point favorites ever.
What are the chances that changes between now and
I don't think very good
off?
because the Pistons have been awful.
They are horrible.
They're 2-6.
Are you looking forward to that game? You were looking forward to that Nuggets game. I wasn't. Turned out to be the best victory I've ever seen in the regular season. You were looking forward to the Kings game. I wasn't. Turned out to be another pretty good win for the Thunder.
I was talking to.
I'm not looking forward to the Pistons.
I was talking to somebody about this the other day. Somebody was, they were saying, oh man, this job must be rough for you this early season with all these injuries. And I was like, I honestly, from just, the journalist perspective,
from a storytelling standpoint,
I'm loving it way more than if everyone's healthy.
It's boring.
They're what 6-2, 7-1 right now.
Yeah.
Every storyline is Durant had 32 and a
they're
win over
winning,
the Kings.
Winning.
Westbrook had a nice game.
Which is nothing wrong with winning,
no,
but you
there's
want to
not.
write something different every now and again. And like last night, I got to write about Anthony Morrow instead of Durant going off for 40 against the Celtics.
There's like interesting stories going on. Sebastian Telford's kind of had like a little career, brief rejuvenation.
Kendrick Perkins hearing MVP chants in his head.
Yeah, Lance Thomas, 13 rebounds last night.
Reggie Jackson coming for a max contract.
There's just
somewhere near you.
When this team, when it's late in the season, even a month from now, when they really need to start getting wins, I want to see this team fully healthy. I want to see what they can do as a championship contender. That's going to be the interest in the playoffs and moving forward. But
hey, we only got about a month left before these guys get healthy.
Maybe even a little less.
All right, here we go.
But I've enjoyed this first month.
Just the opponents, man. It's a lot of bad teams in the NBA that I just like. Denver's got a lot of talent. They
Welcome
don't put
to the
it together.
Milwaukee Bucks beat. Okay.
You know what?
You've had it too good these
years.
years.
We had Sacramento and Milwaukee on back-to-back games. I don't know two beat writers who are more fired up about bad teams than Jason Jones in Sacramento and Charles Gardner in Milwaukee. Two of the nicest guys that you'll run into covering the NBA.
Yeah.
But they will sit there and talk to you for an hour about their teams, and it's like nobody cares. Like you're the Kings and the Bucks. And they're the nicest guys, so you don't want to tell them, hey, listen.
I'm interested. Well, I enjoy
it's good to know, like, kind of what's going on with teams. But when it's the Bucks and you're talking to me about O.J. Mayock, like, I'll listen about Giannis or Jabari Parker, of course. What is Jason Kidd doing with that guy, man? Like, he's not even running offense through him. He's playing him 23 minutes a game. He's sabotaging his Rookie of the Year campaign.
Calm down over there.
Jason Kidd, man, I vouched for that guy when he got the Nets job. Y'all were killing him. I vouched for him and said, he could work this out. He's okay hire.
I didn't kill him.
You and Sherm killed him.
Sherm killed him.
Okay. I know Sherm did. I thought you did too.
I don't think I was like huge on him, but I didn't kill him.
But anyway, I can't get excited about these teams.
I don't mind. Like, they're interesting games to me. I mean, the Perk 17-point game was hilarious. The Kings game was interesting.
It's more entertaining from the Thunder standpoint than the opponent. Like you're entertained because of what the Thunder is doing, right?
Well, that's the team I cover.
Yeah, but you also want to see a good game where like
it was a good game.
Which one?
The Kings game?
The Kings was okay. The Nuggets game was not. It was an entertaining game because how the Thunder just
I was
pummeled
thoroughly entertained from start to finish because the Thunder had this incredible first half where, like I said, Perkins was posting up and throwing in hooks and everyone was playing well. And then the second half was great too because there was this frantic Nuggets comeback when you were wondering, can this team hold it off? The crowd was really into it. I don't know. I think I just have a brighter outlook on life than you.
It's possible.
It's more than possible. It's a fact.
Okay. California sunshine all up and through you.
Yeah. I got no problem with that. Okay. Let's play a little bit. Do these numbers matter?
Probably not.
Jeremy Lamb's early season shooting.
Yes. That didn't take long. 180. Yeah, they matter. I don't even know what number you're talking about, but he needs to perform. Like, he's about to lose his spot in the rotation for his third year. This is a big year for him. Like, he needs to produce, and he's not. Like, whatever number you're going to throw out there, it matters.
I don't even want to throw some of his shooting stats.
Go ahead.
No. Not good. Not good. 17% in the last 2 games on the road.
Matters.
Nick Collison. Jeremy Lamb's 3 of 16 from 3 this year. Nick Collison 7 of 19. That tells you a lot. Does Nick Collison 7 made threes when coming into this year? I believe he had like 4 in his entire 10-year career. He's doing the same thing Serge Ibaka's doing. You're not happy with Serge Ibaka, which I don't agree with. Are you happy with what Nick Collison is doing?
Yes. He's 7 of what?
19.
He's taking 19 threes?
Yeah.
He said that he missed.
He took 5 last night.
He missed a lot He said he missed his first few in the first couple games.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He missed his first 6, so he is 7 of his last 13. He's 7 of 13 in the last 5 games.
You know what? Nick Collison's three-point shot is much improved, just like Serge's. The difference that I see between those two guys is that Nick Collison hasn't fallen in love with it. Nick Collison is basically just taking the shot when it's there as opposed to looking for that shot. And that, to me, is a big difference. And he's been effective with it, has been successful, and I think it's a good weapon. And the Thunder, to their credit, have said all along that as opposed to a big man taking a 19-footer, they might as well step 2 feet back and take a three-pointer. And that's what basically Nick Collison is doing.
That's what Serge Ibaka is doing?
No, Serge Ibaka is not doing that. Serge Ibaka is camping out at the three-point line, drifting around the three-point line, wandering aimlessly around the three-point line, waiting for the ball to come so he can take a three.
Calm down.
Nick Collison is still in the paint, doing dirty work, looking for opportunities to score inside. Serge Ibaka, did you notice the game he had last night?
Serge Ibaka's never...
Did you notice the game he had last night?
Yes.
It was awful. He was the maybe 4th best player on the Thunder. When people feel like he's the best player on the Thunder right now, healthy player. He was the 4th best player behind Reggie Jackson, Anthony Morrow, and Lance Thomas.
This is how Serge Ibaka plays.
Because they're encouraging him to take more threes and to go away from trying to to actually build a better game inside. Again, to be clear, I'm not saying they need to post him up. He's not a good post-up player. But there are other ways to score inside as opposed to just becoming a three-point shooter.
He's had a couple nice drives. He's had a couple, rebound putbacks. He's had a lot of mid-range shots. The thing is, he's always played like this. He's not.
No, he hasn't. He made 23 threes last year.
I'm saying he's always been a jump shooter that relies on others to get him involved.
How many times did they pick and pop last night with Serge and Reggie Jackson?
Not that many, but guess what? He doesn't have his pick and pop partners out there.
I could run the pick and pop with Serge. It'd be a turnover, but I could run it.
Yeah, it'd be embarrassing. You'd probably blow out a knee.
Yeah. Oh, that's a painful thought. The point is, the pick and pop is not hard. Like, Russell Westbrook is not Magic Johnson out there.
Well, I mean, it's just a different personnel out there. I'm just saying he's always played as a jump on offense, as a jump shooting big that's more out of the lane. He doesn't dribble drive that much. He doesn't rebound put back that much.
How many free throws did he get last night?
I can look, but
I believe the answer is 0.
He doesn't get that many all the time, ever. He's never been a high free throw shooting big.
Yeah, but do you say, okay, he's never done this, so we're never going to get it? Or do you say, hey, maybe we can develop this? Reggie Jackson isn't a great free throw shooter, but he hasn't been a great foul rate guy. But guess what? He got 10 last night.
From the Thunder's perspective, this is how Serge has kind of always played, as more of a jump shooter. Now you just have him stretching after 3. He's still shooting most of the time, mid-range and threes now. This is the type of player he's going to be when Durant and Westbrook come back. It's his greatest offensive skill. This is where he helps the team most.
He hasn't always played like this. Notice you didn't reply to my tweet in Milwaukee. When Reggie had it on the break, it was like a 2-on-3 break or a 2-on-1 or a 3-on-2 break. Reggie's bringing it up. Serge is filling the lane on the right wing. Serge slows down as he's getting toward the three-point line and is setting up to take a 3 if Reggie kicked it to him on the right wing. You know what Serge used to do? Flash to the basket and catch a lob. That's what I'm talking about. Like,
there are some
there are moments in the game when I'm just like, this is not good. You cannot rely on that three-point shot. He's fallen in love with it to the point where that's all he's looking for. And that's a bad thing. Like, I don't care what anybody says. That's a bad thing.
There are some points in the games, and yes, you're right, when he floats out there a little bit too much, that are concerning. It's something we talked about in the preseason when I threw out this wild 60 number that you thought was just
by the way, you don't have to tweet me every time he makes a 3. Like, I get it. He's going to make 63s. Good for him. I'm happy. It's
very
great.
Enjoyable.
It's great for his three-point percentage.
But you remember when we discussed that, one of my main points was how much he loves the 3.
Yeah.
Remember the preseason game when he had
And
he hit a
apparently
second quarter three?
apparently I wasn't watching as closely as you because I didn't know that he had fallen in love to this extent. Like this is like, it's unbelievable how much he's looking for the three now. Like when he's there and
I'm
his feet are
interested to
set,
see
it's
when
cool.
Durant and Westbrook comes back, how much he is looking at it. But I mean,
I'm just seeing it take away from other parts of his game, and like people are happy with it because he's making it. But just because you make like Russell Westbrook's pull up, just because he makes it doesn't make it a good shot. His pull up with 20 on the clock, like sometimes that's a terrible shot. Sometimes you need to read and react to the game and understand the time and the score and the situation.
He's going to need to adjust more and pick his spots better, especially when Durant and Westbrook come back. I just think there's going to be spots of the game, those pick and pops, where he should extend it back to three. He's going to, rightfully so, take 2, 3, maybe 4 threes a game on certain nights. He's going to bring other bigs out. I agree with you. He needs to adjust better as far as not floating around, not always looking for it, still going to the rim at times. But I just think it is now and for the rest of his career a part of his game. You're going to need to accept it.
I think we're essentially saying the same thing. I think we essentially agree, and I think what we agree on is there are times when it's a good thing and there are times when it's a bad thing. Both ways. I think there are times when it's good that he's taking these threes, and obviously right now he's making them. But I think there are also times when my biggest issue is that pick and pop. He's not even looking at rolling as an option. And instead of popping the 17, 18 feet, now he's popping the 22 and 23 feet. That's, to me, is more of the issue. Like when you're not even considering an alternative and reading and reacting and trying to get an easier bucket, that is where you run into a problem, in my opinion.
We'll see, because, I mean, it's a different mindset right now because of the guys that are out. Because he kind of has been their best three-point shooter.
I don't think it's going to change when these guys come back.
I still think he's going to take a lot. I mean, this is going to be a season-long discussion, and we just have to see how it plays out.
You're the one discussing it. You bring it up. I'm not. But we'll see. I mean, it's a good thing if he's making them for now, for the time being. Again, long-term, I don't think it's very successful or sustainable, but we'll see. I'm looking at an eye toward the playoffs. Where are they going to go to get easy buckets? You got Nick Collison out there who's taking 19 threes. You got Serge Ibaka who's taking 20-plus threes. Russell Westbrook is going to want to take threes. Kevin Durant, Anthony Morrow, Jeremy Lamb's out there missing. You know, you got all these guys taking threes. Where are your easy buckets going to? Perry Jones taking threes. Where are your easy buckets going to come from?
Has Serge Ibaka's easy buckets ever been in the paint on the drive? No. I mean, that's just...
At times, yeah. I mean, his best offense comes from 17, 18 feet. I agree. But at times, putbacks, running the floor in transition, offensive rebounds, rolls to the rim, his one dribble, you know, he's got a little hook that he can put, or his one dribble
slam. Those aren't like non-existent early in the season. Maybe they're coming at a lesser degree.
I haven't seen many of them because he's spending his time drifting at the three-point line. But we'll see. I mean, it's going to be fascinating to see how it works out.
Well,
Scott Brooks told us the other day he wants him taking, what did he say, 3 or 4 or 4 or 5?
I think around 4. Well, I think
he definitely said 4. I don't know if he said 3 or 4 or 4 or 5. I think he said 3 or 4 a game.
I told him that he's shooting around 4 right now, and I think he was like, yeah, that's that number.
You baited him into saying that he wants.
I don't remember. I have to go. I have to re-listen.
Yeah.
3
or 4 games for 6'10" athletic specimen freak.
You act like that's affecting his defense.
Forward.
I don't think it's affecting his defense at all. I mean, I don't think he's blocking shots like he normally does, but I don't see any correlation between him shooting threes and him blocking shots.
He looks at himself as a perimeter player now. That's what he thinks. He's Ryan Anderson.
No, he doesn't.
All right.
Maybe on offense.
Yeah.
Maybe he is Ryan Anderson.
Let's sign up Serge for the three-point contest right now. Just sign him up.
Oh,
watch him win. He probably win.
I've seen him out there after practice.
When he gets his feet set, man, it's impressive. He hit one in Milwaukee where I just watched his feet. I think it was from the top of the key. I mean, he was jabbing and he caught it. He started jabbing and the way he set his feet, I'm like, if you've got that kind of footwork out there, 23 feet away from the basket, how can you not have that footwork inside? Like his footwork is amazing as a jump shooter. But he just doesn't have nearly as good footwork in the post.
He doesn't. Okay.
You got any other numbers? Because your Nick Collison number turned into a
Serge
Ibaka debate.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So did all those these days.
Well, you started it.
Steven Adams only shooting 48% right now. We talked about it a little earlier.
The roles aren't there right now that we saw in the preseason with Durant and Westbrook.
Yeah.
Once those guys come back, I think he'll be much better off. He'll be much better off.
Yeah, I agree. His touch has been lacking. What do you think? He shoots that hook. It's strange looking. It was going down, and like most people didn't see a lot of the preseason games just because they weren't televised. But these like hooks that are looking really strange right now and are, clanging like off backboard and stuff. They were like splash, splash, splash
right.
early in the preseason. Oh, all of preseason really. So that's been interesting. I don't know if it's just a slump. I don't know if that was an aberration. But it'll be interesting to see. I think he'll be better when the Stars are back. I want to talk a little way too early Western Conference playoff predictions.
I don't even know what the standings are right now.
Well, I'll tell you right now.
Houston?
Yeah, Memphis and Houston.
Memphis and Houston.
Right now the 9, 10, 11 first three teams out of the playoffs are the the Spurs, Clippers, and Thunder. Anyway, is there anyone, because you had the 8 teams that made it last year who came back strong this year as far as their rosters.
Man, those were my 3, not in that order. I had Clippers, Spurs, then Thunder before Westbrook went down. And right now they're on the outside looking in.
My question is there anybody that's not the 8 teams that made it last year that you now think may sneak in?
No.
Can a New Orleans sneak in?
I don't think the Suns or the Pelicans are going to be there. I think we're going to see the same 8 teams.
I still agree. Barry Trammell's Minnesota Timberwolves sitting at 2-5.
We tried to warn him. We got to get him back on. When do they play the Wolves? We got to get him back on here so he can explain his Timberwolves fascination.
They've lost 3 in a row. You know who the Timberwolves are better than, though? The Denver Nuggets.
Oh, you know what he's going to say? Ricky Rubio is out. Yeah.
They were bad before Rubio went out. Denver Nuggets look just terrible. 6 straight losses.
I think Brian Shaw could be on the hot seat in only his second season.
Yeah.
But before, they were at least fun to watch, and now they're not even fun to watch. They're not lighting up the scoreboard, and they're losing. Like, they were a mediocre team, like 41-41 or whatever.
You see the Blazers' first half
but they
stats
were fun.
In Denver last night?
84 points?
84 points.
Yeah. Yep.
It was
I had a front office guy tell me the other night that he feels like the Warriors are better than the Clippers.
Warriors have looked really good. They won their first 5. They've lost 2 in a row. The Spurs, man, that was impressive. The Spurs going into L.A., beating the Clippers, then second night of a back-to-back going up to Golden State and easily beating the Warriors.
Well, I just thought of this. I'm rooting for the Warriors to get the 3 seed now. If they can hang on all year,
why,
get
you
the
think
3
the Thunder
seed,
are going to be 6?
Get the Thunder in 6.
You think that's where the Thunder
We're
are going to be 6?
We're going to Golden State finally for playoffs.
I would be down for that.
Yeah, no, you would be. Welcome home. That would be incredible.
Yeah, I would have assumed it would
I want to see a playoff series against Golden State and Portland. Those are the 2 buildings I want to cover playoff games in, more than any other building.
How about Chicago?
Well, we're going there for the finals.
Oh, get out of here. Is that where you think the Thunder? You mentioned 6 right there, like that was the spot you think the Thunder are gonna.
Yeah, I mean,
get planted in.
As much as I'm confident in Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook and their ability to do whatever it takes to get this team into the playoffs, no matter what the record is while they're out. I think, we've talked about this just in general, not on the podcast, but you've said it, and I think you hit the nail on the head. Their margin of error goes away.
Yeah.
Like, you can't have any injury setbacks. You can't have any slippage. You can't have any rust, where you're dropping games that you can't afford to lose. That's gonna be a lot to ask to get them higher than maybe the 6th seed.
Yeah, well, I mean, just look at it this way. Last year they won 59 games. let's say, I mean, this first month is taking away wins right now. They win in Milwaukee if they have their healthy team, like they did last year.
Yep.
They win some of these early games. So let's say, being generous, it only takes away 6 wins in the grand scheme. 59 to this is maybe a 53-win team.
Yeah.
That's the 60. The 6 seed last year, the 5 seed had 54 wins. So you'd be a 6 seed with 53 wins if it was like last year. And we know the West is going to be super competitive.
Well, I don't know. A writer in Boston said something that he kind of challenged this popular belief that the West is going to have 8 teams with 50 wins. It was the first time I've heard anyone challenge that theory. And he might be right.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't have 8 last year with 50.
Well, who had 49?
Dallas had 49.
Dallas had 49. But, people automatically assume because there are so many good teams, they're going to start beating up on each other and, nobody's going to – maybe you have only 6 teams with 50 wins.
True. But I agree. The Thunder are probably, I would guess, in the 4, 5, 6 range if they're getting everyone healthy. It's going to be tough to – they'd have to go on a real nice run to get back up in that 1, 2, 3.
I don't think the Rockets are going to sustain what they're doing. They haven't played anybody. And they really only got 2.5, maybe 3 players.
Well, but the Rockets is good. Yeah, true. But I'm not saying the Rockets are a threat in the playoffs. I think they're going to accumulate a lot of regular season wins.
I'm looking at it from a regular season standpoint and saying, okay, who's going to be in that top 4? I don't think the Rockets are going to be in that top 4 when it's all said and done. The Spurs are going to get healthy and start caring.
I think the Clippers will too.
The Clippers are going to start rolling eventually, and the Thunder's going to get healthy and just start, and they're going to go on a tear.
2 teams I think that are interesting in the 3, 4, 5-ish range. What do you think of the Warriors? I think they're going to get a ton of regular season wins, and then Memphis. If Memphis stays healthy,
Warriors. I got the Spurs and the Clippers.
You know what's interesting in all that, in all we've talked about? If you win your division, you're an automatic top 4 home court.
Right.
Blazers, I think, are a little overrated. We haven't even mentioned the Blazers in that range. That's the only team in the Thunder's division that's in that discussion.
Yeah, well, that would be my second tier right there with the Thunder.
So let's say the Thunder have a better record than the Blazers, which,
it's possible.
Possible.
It's still possible.
Yeah, and I almost would favor the Thunder if they can get everyone healthy back. They'd be an automatic top 4.
This is pretty encouraging. I mean, I haven't really looked at the standings, but nobody's really running away. The Grizzlies 7-1, the Rockets 7-1, but like I said, I don't think that's sustainable. They're going to come back to earth, and they haven't played anyone. And the Thunder, for a while there, they were at the bottom of the standings right there with the Lakers, but now they got those 3 wins. They're not as far back as maybe you would have thought that they would have been right now, and they've been competitive in 8 of the 9 games. So they're giving themselves a chance to win. And as you've mentioned, the schedule softens up a ton right now with all these non-playoff teams coming in. So
it does.
Man, I think they're in good shape.
I do too. I think last night's win's huge. Any of these early season wins are huge. But at the same time, I'm not, I was throwing out questions for Eric Horn to help with the podcast. And the one he had is, are we overvaluing home court in the playoffs, especially for the Thunder? And I mean, looking at this, to me, there's not a huge difference if the Thunder are a 6-7 or a 4-5.
I wouldn't want to play the Grizzlies in the first round if I'm the Thunder.
I think,
if they have home court, I would not want to play the Grizzlies in the first round.
Well, there's a chance you play the Clippers or Spurs. Who would you rather play in the first round?
Clippers.
And the Spurs are the last team you want to play, right? Maybe getting the Spurs in the first round is good because they seem to always – remember they went 7 with the Mavs in the first round last year, and then they got so much momentum. By the finals, they were just unstoppable.
Yeah.
Maybe that's when the Thunder – maybe a Thunder at 8, Spurs at 1, or a 2-7. Maybe that's when the Thunder want the Spurs.
Give me the Mavs. I'll take the Mavs in the first. That's the best.
Well, yeah,
but do
you think the Mavs are going to be high enough to get the Thunder in the first round? I don't.
3-6 maybe? No,
I think Mavs will be right next to the Thunder, like 6 and 7.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's so early to be discussing.
It's fun to talk about, though. I mean, a lot can happen.
It is. Blue home opener on Friday. You going to the Thunder and Pistons game? You sounded pretty lukewarm on that game. Maybe you're going to head to that blue home opener at the Cox Convention Center. see Josh Huestis.
Who's coming in?
And-
Do we know who's on the other team? Any good players on the other team? Do we know?
I believe it's main Red Claws. I don't know this for sure, but I think maybe Romero Osby used to play at OU. I believe
Yeah,
he's
he
on
used to
that
play
team.
for the Magic.
Yeah.
Good guy, man.
Really good guy.
I walked out. I
Really
talked to him
good
at
guy.
Summer League. He was like, "Yeah, man, good to see you." I was like, "I've never seen you before, ever." Like,
He's
but
great.
he
He's
was
great.
such a nice guy
I've
that-
interviewed him multiple times.
Yeah.
He's like you said, class act.
yeah.
For sure.
Well, good. Nice little homecoming of sorts for him.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how many people will be in the crowd to welcome
Yeah.
him back.
Their
but-
home opener is really going to be on the same night of a Thunder game across the street.
Yeah.
Probably not great planning. Josh Huestis, though, I really hope he becomes a good player because
I think he is going to become a good player.
I hope he does, strictly from the fact that he will be a great interview. He is incredibly smart.
Mm-hmm.
Stanford grad,
Mm-hmm.
unique background.
Yep.
I like talking to him.
I'm gonna go check him out sometime. Not Friday, of course,
No.
but I'm gonna go see some Blue games. See some Majay Christian, Marcus. Is it Marcus Teague?
Marcus Teague.
Yeah. They got some other guys that were on the summer league team. Some
Oh,
holdovers
I'm
from last year.
The games I will attend are when like Mitch McGarry starts coming back from his injury, if they throw him over there for like a
Oh,
mini
I'm definitely
rehab
going for
assignment.
that.
Well, yeah, but you're going in the stands and you're go blue. Give me the Michigan fight song.
Yeah. I should have it on deck, just ready every time we talk about McGarry. I should have it on my phone.
Next podcast. All right. You good?
I'm good.
I'm good. We'll talk to you again next week. What do they got coming up? Pistons,
Rockets,
Rockets, Jazz,
Nuggets.
Nuggets. It's a nice winnable four-game stretch, except for maybe that Rockets game.
You got to beat the Jazz and the Nuggets.
Both on the road in a back-to-back. I bet they lose one of those. Like you said,
They might lose the Nuggets.
like you said, you got to win one of those two
Yeah,
games.
yeah. Go 500. Go 500. I don't
Over
know
these
if they
next
can-
four, we'll go 2-2, be 5-8.
I'm not sure they can beat the Rockets at home. Who's going to guard James Harden?
If you can beat the Pistons, where you're favored for the first time all year on Friday, and then you can win one of the two,
That's
the
1-1,
Utah,
and then 1-1.
and then
Success.
you're 5-8, and you're a week closer to
5-8. Would that be right?
yeah, they're 3-6.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They'd
Three.
be
That's
5.
3 games. Yeah, 5-8.
So and then you're a week closer. You're
Just
just
holding on.
I'll keep holding on.
Way
Hit
to
me with it.
take us out, Slater. Keep going. Keep it up.
Talk to you next week.
Durant, pull-up jumper, off the rim, and in! Oh! And the Thunder win! All right, come on, let's sing the Thunder song. When you hear the sound of thunder, don't you get too scared. Just grab your Thunder buddy and say these magic words.